Hello. Now, I think we should be both live on Twitch and on YouTube right now. I need to check to make everything is okay. Yeah, everything seems to be fine. At least the Twitch part. YouTube is a bit slow for some reason. Yeah, and now it should be working. What is my IntelliJ? Yes. So, hello, and welcome back. Now we are on episode 17, and I'm surprised we managed to finish the post request last time in just 1 hour compared to the last time where it took me a couple of days. I guess that's what you call experience. But after doing what we did yesterday, I discovered that yes, we want the task to be, how can I say, there's a lot of fields for me to fill here. For example, when you're creating a task, you want to at least automate some of the stuff here. For example, the description here, not the description, sorry, the completed part. Of course, it will always be not completed, so we need to find a way to set it by default to false, and by crossing it you actually make it to true. I was thinking on maybe delaying that part till I finish the entire app, but since we are on the post request, might as well just do it. So we'll give it and the rest is auto. Yeah, the ID is auto, but I'm not sure about the tag. I think you'll have to at least pick the tag for it, or at least make it an option. But I guess that part will be for the front end, not the back end. Anyway, if I am making a to-do app and I want the properties of a task to be by default not completed, how can I make that in the database, in the backend? So I have several ideas. Maybe you can, instead of like creating a variable and then assigning it, you can just set the constructor to it, the setters and getters to false, and that's how you will have it by default to false always. That's a way. The second way, maybe you can make it through the database, because I remember vaguely doing something like that, but I'm not sure. What else? Yeah, these are the only two ways I can think of, but I'm not sure which one is the proper one to actually do it. Yeah, so like I said here, this is always set to false. Put this in Spring Boot. As for the controller, task set completed to false. You can do it through SQL. Default, yes. So that's two-way. Actually, I think the easiest one will probably be just going to the task class and just making it equal to false. But now, since I'm filling the fields, should I fill every field? I don't think so. It depends on what constructor we have. I think we will probably have to make a constructor that is only for the 3 parts that we need. Yeah, I think that's it. What we have, generate, and we want a constructor. We want a constructor for 3 stuff, only string, shift here. We want the title, the tag, and the description. Yes. So now to rerun the app. Okay, everything seems to be working fine. Let's check the database here. Okay, let's try to make another post request. New. I'm pretty sure I clicked on okay. Duplicate, yes. And we will call that creating a task with only three, only title, tag, and description. And let's get this tag from here instead of writing everything from the beginning, and it's a post. So let's get this body by no, we make it raw and it's JSON, and we will remove this one, and we will see if the request is successful. And we have an error. Timestamp status error. Bad request. Okay, how about this one? Okay, the normal one is working just fine. Bad request. Okay, let's check why it's not working from here. So we start by going to the controller. We do the create task and the e.get message. What message did I just get? It was impossible overrun. Bad request. How about this surface then? So it's none of the requests that I already created before. Okay, we can start debugging that part. And also let's provide this. Unable to post the request through due to the client issue such as malware data missing required field. Yes, it's a missing required field. Okay, maybe okay, there is an extra com here. Never mind. Okay, and the user already existed. Task already existed. Let's change the title to no, that was the tag. Studying Spring Boot. Okay. It's work. Yeah, it did work. Simple mistake, but I have the ID and it's also set to false, and the tag is already set. And we made sure that there cannot be multiple tasks that work at the same time. Okay. I thought we'd probably stay in that topic for a bit longer, but it appears we didn't need to. Okay, now we want to view the task. And how do we view the task? Well, first we need review all tasks, and then we filter them by tag, and then we filter them by date. which is a thing that I forgot to mention in the design part here. Where did I put it? Yeah, our task should also have the date set on, the date that the task is set and the due date to the task. Okay, we will worry about that later, but let's make our review all and then we make a review by task. So we start from here. I need to make it a bit more readable. Yeah, okay. We say get all task, and for that one, what do we need? I think I forgot something here. I'm surprised it still work at post mapping. Surprised it still worked even without okay, we are at the surface layer, that's why. What is the controller? Yep, it shouldn't work without the post mapping. Now instead of creating the task, get all task, and we say here at get mapping public response. I think response was capital, yes. Response entity. We want to provide what? Which data structure will be best suited for that one? Hash set. Now this is the part where data structure comes in place, which I haven't used surprisingly thus far. Since it has been a long time since I did anything in data structure, so Java data structure. I just need that graph that I always seem to forget. No, not that one. Nope, I can't find it. How about this? Should normally data structure. Okay, we have linear and non-linear. We have tree. Definitely we will not be using tree. We have arrays. We can make an array of objects and then return it, but I don't think it's good because it's not that dynamic. We have linked lists, but what about sets? Okay, let's check a cheat sheet here. Not found. About images. Maybe it will be better if I just, instead of searching data structure, just search collections. Instead of cheat sheet, let's make it graph. So we have a collection, and then from the collection we have set, list, and queue. I'm thinking since we don't want the task to be repeated, and it shouldn't be, we should be creating a set of the task names. Yes, that's another thing. Should I return object or should I return just the title? I mean, I can return just the object and leave it for the front end part to customize it, but it's either a set or a list, and hash set at that. Okay, if I want to return all the tasks which data structure is suited for it, I am thinking of hash set because it's faster and there should be no duplicate tasks. Using a hash set to return in your backend might not be the best choice, even though it's a good structure for fast lookups and eliminate duplicates. Here is why. Fast lookups, it provides one-time complexity for lookup, insertion and deletions, which is great for checking existing and removing duplicates. No duplicates. Unordered. Hash set does not maintain the order of elements if you need to return a task in a specific order. However, there are some drawbacks. Ordering. If you want the tasks to be ordered in some way, created out or updated out, do I want them to be ordered? Yes and no. Will not help because it does not maintain any ordering element. Task quality relies on equals and hash code method of the task class to determine whether a task is duplicate or not. If your task objects are not defined correctly, yes, what is considered a duplicate is through the hash code and hash method, which I should probably change to make it to the title of the task. Alternative, linked list. Why didn't I not think of linked list? I mean, with linked list, insertion and deletion of the first and last task is the easiest. So if the order of the task is important, tasks should be returned in order they were created or based on their completion status. Yes, I would prefer to have the completed task down and the not so completed task still up. Array list or linked list would be a better choice. Array list preserves the order of the task and allows for fast retrieval by index. Through insertion and deletion might not be as fast as hash set. Okay, interesting. Set with custom equals and hash code. I was thinking on that one, but linked list seemed to be the better linked hash list. If you want uniqueness of a property of a hash set but also need to maintain the insertion order, a linked hash list is a good choice. Hash map. No. Let's say that the ordering of my task will be that's the thing, you want the person to be able to customize which one is which. I'll leave that part for now. Let's just create a normal one. Let's say that the ordering of the task will be the completed ones last and the new ones at the beginning. Which one will be preferable for that? I'm thinking of linked list, but we'll see. It's lagging for some reason, so probably I have to refresh. And I have to retype everything again because I didn't sign with an account. I want to create a to-do list, and I am creating a method that gets all the tasks and orders them by completion. The completed one last and the not completed one first. He's doing it in Python. In Java Spring Boot. Map to the database and so why did he pick a list? Why did you pick a list? List is one of the most common used collection types for holding elements in Java. You want to maintain the order of the element. You expect to perform operation like adding and removing. Do I think yes. You want to easily support ordering such as sorting tasks by their completion. Collection.sort compatibility with JB. When you're using Spring Boot, you find all the return method returns a list. Oh, okay, so the find all already returns a list. So a natural list file structure returned from the repository. Sorting mechanism. Sorting list is straightforward with Java streams. Yes, streams. Dot sorted, and then we have task 1, task 2, boolean dot compare. Task 1 is completed. I will probably need more about this part, but we are not planning on doing the sorting right now. We just want to get all of the tasks first. So probably better to just do it from the repository first. List. I think it was capital also. A task. And we have to import the collection here. No, java.util. Find all tasks. And that's it. We don't even need anything else. Retrieving, or let's just keep it as simple with Java, getting all the tasks. We say public list task. Yes, import the class. Why is my throat so dry today? And no, we don't get any input really. I forgot to name it. And get all tasks. Now what do we say? Yes, we'll have an if task repository dot find all task. I think we should put that entire thing in brackets. Yes, I think we did. So another bracket here. Dot is present. repository.exist by task rename is present. The method should be given, but it will return a list generic, but the generic type is not working for some reason. What we say list task, we call it what? Tasks equals to, and what we just had right here. Yes, we're missing another bracket here. We say task dot where is the is present method? I mean, we can still use is empty, but I need to check. Generics have a method that is present and is empty. Do not have the method, but these methods are commonly used in certain classes, specifically in context optional and collections like list or set. So we have commonly used is present and is empty for the normal optional, but collection optional. With a collection or set do not have is present or is empty as a method specified for generics. They do have an is empty method if the collection contains no elements. Okay, so basically generics doesn't, to be exact, generics list doesn't have is present but is empty. Okay, fair enough. Is empty and so we say what I want the opposite of that, so it's not empty. What do? We return tasks, that's it. Or else we throw an exception. Should we even type else? I don't think we need. We just say return throw new, what do we call it? Is it illegal element, illegal argument exception? No such element exception. Yes. Get we just write the message. There is no task available. Forget about the spelling mistakes. Or actually, while we are at it, available. Nope. Forgot the E. Okay. I also have an English exam coming up, so I should as well just train for it. Why? Not sure what that mistake is. Unreachable statement. Okay, it's because of the brackets. Should we say even return? No, we just say so. That's for the class, and we are missing here one. But no, because we still need the return type. Okay, we just say else. Just thinking of a way to handle it more gracefully, but wait, how is it working here but not here? Return task or else throw. And once I do the return here, for some reason it doesn't work. Exception handling is a pain in the ass to deal with. More actions. Return. Okay, now how about I just try to copy anything here. I don't think I can even take a screenshot to see if there would be an issue or not. If list is not empty, public class option string. What if I want to throw exception if the list is empty? Public void checklist is not empty. Extends runtime exception. How about I make specific? What if I want to make the list not make necessary? What if the task list that I ordered through a get method is empty? I want to throw an exception. If you order a task and you want to throw an exception, you will try to get okay. The try and catch part I said I wanted in the what will be the code in the service layer. Custom exception, the task. If the task is empty, throw exception. Yeah, you just say throw without the return. Okay, yeah, I can just do it that way. First of all, we don't need that to still be an error. So how about this? If it's empty, and if it's not, return the tasks. Way better, right? So it's not thrown, insert throw. Yeah, okay, I'm pretty sure I written throw, but never mind. So now the last part, the controller response entity. Response entity, and the type is list. L, I always forget, of task. We say get all tasks. So how do I design the URLs here? I'm pretty shitty at it still, because I have API and task. I have the post, then we have this one. Don't think there is anything here to do it, but let's do the try and catch here. So what do we say? We just return a list, right? So task service dot get all tasks, and we will just return that. Because it's a response entity. Never mind. Response entity dot okay. And we say here tasks service dot. It's a good thing that I always force myself to deal with the response entity manually, because I always forget about it. Yeah, and the catch here is also a mistake. Catch, we need exception E, and we say through. So we did this tomorrow, so I should probably be able to do it. We say HTTP status dot status. Okay, no, I mixed it up. First of all, we have the response, return response entity dot HTTP response entity dot status first, and then the HTTP. Okay, status HTTP status dot internal error, and we say dot body for that one. But the dot body here is for the status. Okay, dot body, and we say the exact thing here. Exception E, an error has occurred. Yeah, I think that's the same error we ran into yesterday, and we just changed this to question mark, but I don't think it's a best practice, so I want to check on that part also. The return type mismatch, yes, better exception handling. The custom exception handling part, we'll do it at the end, since I don't need to make my my project more complicated. I want to know how he will manage to return the list task, even though we want to return a string here. So is empty. I did that part. We have exception return response entity dot status dot response body new error response. I think that's the part we are missing. The body one. Nope. It's an abstract. Okay. Yes, there was a class here. Error response. Define a custom error class. Option are recommended for consistency. So should I research more about the exception handling part, because it seems to bite me in the ass every time I try to do it. Yes, okay. Just one video about error handling, because that topic keeps on appearing every time I try to do anything. So what's that here? Exception handling.
So we're getting pretty far along in our API, and it's probably
yes,
about
very far.
time that we go ahead and bite the bullet and implement exception handling. And the best way to understand exception handling is like this. By default, all unhandled exceptions will be a 500.
Yes, but it doesn't specify exactly what 500
error is essentially just a generic error. If the exception is not handled correctly, all
it
they
can
will get back
literally
is a generic error. So it's
yes, the issue is with the 500 that it can be anything, so it doesn't help with debugging or figuring out the problem.
Your job as a developer to essentially take exceptions and map them to appropriate status codes and return the correct data.
Yes, and that's where the custom errors that we need to make comes into place.
And we're going to implement what's called global exception handling, and this is probably going to be the most robust and the best form of exception handling, but it's also good to be aware of the other two forms of the kind of the lesser used but still important. So you can also
the response status is the one that I keep on using.
Have exception handling on a per exception basis. Like if you just wanted to put your own exception just right here, this is how you would do it. So if you just want to throw an exception just like that, what you do is you make this exception handler class and you put this response status annotation on top of it.
Oh, okay. So public class not found extends runtime exception, and then you put an annotation at response status and the value HTTP status not found.
It will correctly show the type of
again, what does runtime exception mean? Okay, that's why it's called run. I guess so, yeah, seems to be true.
You want to actually implement, and you can put all types of
actually, I forgot to do a single thing. Give me a second, I have a lot of folders here. Yes, I felt something was weird.
Some code in here, it's really awesome. And also, key point here, it always extends the runtime exception.
Always, okay.
Pretty much all of these are going to be runtime exceptions.
Technically, yes.
You can also do it on a per controller basis. You can implement exception handling on a per controller basis, and we actually did that. So what's going to happen is if this actually returns what we want, it's going to return the HTTP status okay. But both of these are good, but we want to implement the good stuff. We want that global exception handling, right?
Okay,
so let's go into here, and
the quality is a bit off.
What you want to do is exceptions are so important that you
actually, I haven't checked his product. We have get mapping, return new Pokemon, yeah. Okay, he didn't implement any of the
here, and what you want to do is exceptions are so important that you want to actually implement your own exceptions folder, I think. So I just go in here and create exceptions, and then what you want to do is you want to actually create this class thing that I showed you guys. So we have this class right here, and we actually want to implement our own. You don't, because we're doing it in the global way, you don't have to have the response status annotation, but you can do it that way if you want to too. it's really flexible. So we're
Okay.
just going to create a generic Pokemon not found exception. Pokemon not found exception. We're just going to call it, once again, exception. It's going to be a class, and it's going to
Extend
extend
runtime exception.
So we can go here. It's going to extend runtime exception, and we'll go here. We go static, and this is because the runtime exception uses something called serialization. So we have to implement this thing right here just for good measure.
Private static final long serialized version ID.
And I go ahead and put 1. I wouldn't worry too much about that right now. If you want to research it, once again, it's called serialization, and so if you want to know more about it,
yeah, I do want to know more about that part. What is runtime error serialization? Refers to the error that occurs during runtime, the serialization or deserialization process of objects in Java at runtime. Is the process of converting an object into byte stream. Deserialization is the reverse when serializing or fails due to the issues in the object structure, class compatibility, or other. Runtime exception may be thrown. Common exception included: not serialized exception, invalid class exception, common runtime errors. How can I make my own exception that extends runtime exception, which is probably the most common one. Find the specific runtime conditions in your application. Custom exceptions allow you to convey specific errors meaningful way. Public class invalid task exception extends runtime. Build a constructor and we say it's super. Constructor with a custom error message. Constructor with a custom error message and a cause. Another throwable. So it doesn't mention anything about the serialization. So you invalid task exception and then you pass the message as the constructor in the constructor. I think I get the gist of it, but I still need more information.
Go ahead. You can feel free to research that, and it's kind of boring, to be honest with you. So we're going to go down here, and then we're going to have a super, and we're going to give this a super message with the super method inside of it. So what's going to happen is that we are going to actually create these Pokemon not found exceptions, and it's going to pass this up into the actual runtime exception. So what super means is this is going to essentially just go
inherit
here into our runtime exception, and it's going to
inherit everything
this actual constructor, this actual string into the runtime exception. Okay, so looking good on that front. Now what we need to do is we need to create what's called an object, or it's not actually called like this specifically, but we're going to create an object so that when it returns the data back, it gives us our data in a nice little neat format and doesn't return a bunch of crazy error messages that somebody could use to hack us. Okay, status code. We're gonna go in here, then we're gonna go string, just like this, and we're gonna go message, then we're gonna go private, just like this, and go date, and we're going to give it a timestamp so that when we actually return this data, we will return it back with the status code message in the timestamp. Okay, next thing that we need to do is we need to actually implement what we've been talking about for so long, is we need to actually implement the global exception handler. And the way that we're going to do that is we're just going to literally make a class called global exception handler. We go in here.
I still need to know how this
like this.
gets tied all together again.
We need to give it this thing called controller advice. I do not know why they call it controller advice. Maybe you're giving advice to the controller, but what essentially it's going to do is it's going to turn this into a special type of bean that Spring can use to handle exceptions. And this is going to be almost like, it's called an interceptor. It will actually intercept these actual, what are they called? Exceptions. I'm going to implement these exceptions, sorry, I blanked out, and actually intercept them before they actually happen. So we're going to go here, or before it actually turns up the 500 error, I'm sorry. So go in here, we're going to go object, just like this, and we're going to say handle Pokemon not found. Okay, exception.
Nope, no idea.
Response entity.
I'll have to probably research every single word from this class.
EX for short for exception. Then we're going to give it a web request, and we're going to give it just the name of request. And what this does is this is basically going to bring in our actual class. Then this is going to bring in the actual data that's being received, or the actual request, so that it can actually error out and we can get information from the actual.
But the thing is, it returns a response entity, so it will fix the issue that we had with our class.
Well, it's almost like it's bringing in the web page, kind of. Okay, so we're going to go in here, we're going to go error object. Then we go down, and we're going to say, then we're going to assign values to the set status code in here, and we're going to give it, for this specific instance, HTTP status is equal to not found, and this is the exact status that we want to, and we need to give it this value right here. We're going to go error object dot set message, just like this. We're going to go error object.
Nope, too much things I don't know.
Get message and error dot object dot set timestamp new date, just like this.
The error object is the object that we created, but I'm still not sure we created an error object. Why?
And we've got our new date right here, and for some reason we're getting a red squig. Okay, so this is
how to handle custom errors in Spring Boot. So controller advice is the thing we are looking for. First you define a class and extends runtime, and then super, and that's it for the class. Okay, that part is understandable. Create a global exception handler using the controller advice. Spring provides a controller advice annotation to handle exception globally. What do you mean by handle exception globally? You can create a class annotation. What do you mean by handle the exception globally? And then we have global exception handler. Okay, that part at least it's understandable because it's global. But why a normal error object class? Create a stand error response. Yeah, it's that object that he created. Is a standard structure for error response. It contains the status code message. So yes, why do we need to create a standard error response? So it's another thing. Use the custom exception in the controller. I mean, that part is already easy. And test handling validation errors. I'm not sure about the valid thing, but we'll get to it probably later. But now to my question. When I say handle the exception globally, I mean centralizing the logic for dealing with exception in one place. So you don't have to Write repetitive error handling codes in each controller or process. In Spring, you can achieve global exception handling using the add controller advice. Again, what do you mean by centralizing? What do you mean by centralizing, and how does it not make us repeat our error handling code? So that's one. The second one, what is my second question? Centralizing error handling Spring Boot. Centralizing error handling means that you define and manage the logic for handling exception in one place rather than having to repeat it across multiple parts of your application. Yes, we went through that. Without centralizing error handling, if a non-centralized approach, you would need to handle exception in every controller method individually. This means that if an exception occurred in a different controller's method, you would repeat a similar code for each one to catch the exception and return a response. So try task ID. If task is equal to null, task not found exception, technically yes, and return response entity new error response. Get mapping. I'm still not sure. We have two types of error. We have the exception, the normal exception, and the every controller method get task and create contains its own try and catch block. The exception is caught and the same kind of error response is constructed repeatedly, which lead to duplication of error handling. I will leave that for tomorrow actually, because there seems to be more to it than I thought. Where is my to-do list? Why the service as interface? Okay, yeah, forgot about that one also. Search more about error handling. And I have to specify that it's the custom one. And I will probably have to paint it in some way so that I don't forget it. Now let me check what are the other things that I was trying to search. ID and task ID, do they get the response status auto wired? Okay, never mind. So I think that will be it for the coding part of today, since it's not an issue of writing everything, but the issue is with the error handling and doing the response. I mean, we'll get it eventually. But now, getting back to Angular, which took my entire brain power yesterday to actually figure what was the issue that we had. For some reason the package didn't install the app.module, so we had to do it manually and then install it here with the router outlet. So it should be working if I remember correctly from here. Yes, it is.
This actually happening in real time. So we're going to go in here. We're going to have our favorite animal.
And I didn't type anything related to it. Okay. What we took yesterday, this one prints everything, and then we have the image source, create a custom property. I actually forgot that part. How did we create the custom property again? If I remember correctly, the string beaver. Actually, I'll remove this part, and let's say the example of last time, which is the image resource. Image source, and it's a string, and it's equal to HTTP. Okay, no, this one. Maybe I should get the message, get a photo that I can actually just any image for now. Just want a simple image. Why is that difficult? Yes, something like that, and then VS Code we type that here. Actually, even I think double quotation is the way to go. That's the property. So when we have the image tag, I think it was a self close tag, and we say the property for it. Say image source. Although I'm not sure. I need to revisit the video from yesterday for property binding.
What's up, guys?
Image and then source, and we put the image resource. Image source is our link, yes, but we just have to mention the property, so we don't necessarily create the property itself, but what the property actually have. So we still use the normal source tag, but the values of the property. Okay, so that's what we create. So no, what I wrote here is technically wrong. So it's source inside the brackets. What we create is image source. We don't create a property, but we create a value to the property. The default one is source, and we created image source. Forgot a T here and forgot a comma here. So yeah, that's for this part. And the one for the two-way binding, it's ng model, and then we say what do we want to actually be moduled at the same time, and I think that's what I wrote here. I need to actually mention how to also write it. So yes, it's input ng model.
And if you look over here,
actually let me just go back a bit and get everything that we just deleted. Yes, that's how I'll not forget. We created the title, of course. Okay, now sure why the numbers doesn't continue, but and I don't want them to be numbers to begin with. Yeah, that's better. Now where we were again? Yes, the new episode today.
What's up, guys? This is Teddy. Welcome.
So now a fresh start, and I do need another coffee for that. Actually, give me a second. I probably should make another cup of coffee before we get with the new the new part of Angular.
Welcome to my YouTube channel. This video, we're going to be
I'm back. I think I was a bit late because I was still deciding whether to get coffee or just tea. I want to have too many cups of coffee a day, so one cup is enough for me.
About template reference.
What was the topic again? Template reference
variables in Angular, and it's really difficult to figure out like what this is. Like I remember I first started working and I would see this all the time. This is terrible. I didn't know what template reference variables were when I first started developing.
First time hearing it.
That's a testament to how desperate people are for Angular developers. So, but besides the point,
okay.
What's happening is when you use this hash symbol, you use this phone. All that's happening is Angular comes up, it lifts the DOM object, it lifts the DOM element out of the DOM, and it gives it to you in a nice little variable so that you can have it to, you know, do what you want to with it. So you can access this phone, this actual HTML element as if you were doing.
Actually, just as a quick overview, string interpolation, we did that part, string binding, and then two-way binding. But in general, what are the main topics that I need to know in Angular to become proficient in Angular? Are several key. Understand Angular as a platform and framework for client-side application, particular side, learn about modular architect of the Angular, including modules, components, surface, and routing, setting up Angular, now components, templates, data binding, service and dependency injection. Okay, there is dependency injection here. Routing and navigation, that's where that's the thing I studied, I think, in Next.js. Forms in Angular, the ng model, yeah, we went through that. HTTP client observables, routing pipes, stat management, testing, build and deployment, performance optimization, security. Okay, so there is a lot.
So in the actual browser, and there's this phone, this actual HTML element as if you were doing so in the actual browser. And there's other ways to do this, and we will talk about those later on in the course, but this is going to be the most simple, and it's very important because it allows other elements to share information with each other. That's
so we have input, and then phone, placeholder phone, and then button, from type button, click, call phone, phone.value.
The sharing in template reference variable world, sharing is caring. The reason we have template reference variables is so that you can share them with other HTML elements on the web page. And if you look in this example, that is exactly what we've done. Sharing is caring, and we've passed this phone element with its value just as if it were a JavaScript DOM element right into this, and we're doing this in an Angular environment.
I haven't studied much about the DOM element, yes.
Very powerful. So we get all the benefits of the low levelness of regular JavaScript objects, and we also get all of the power of Angular as well too.
Since this topic keeps on popping off, I think I'll probably try to make a to-do list here. How about, let me make it a bit big to we can make it a numbers, and yes, I need more. That's better. DOM manipulation in JavaScript. I have seen what the topic means, just I haven't done that deep in it.
So let's just go ahead. I'm going to show you guys what template reference variable is and give you a nice little example. So
and I'm still not used to the structure here. So server outlet, that's a must to see everything in the screen. And then we have the add component, and then these stuff. The import, I'm familiar with it. There is no export, and the class is called app component. Okay.
Let's just go in here. I'm gonna go Pokemon, and we're gonna have Pokemon name. We're gonna assign this to a string, and we're gonna assign an empty string to it. And over here, what we're going to do, we can get rid of this router up here. So we're gonna go input, we're gonna go type is equal to text, and then we're gonna call this username. Let me see, so
we say type text, username.
Let's call this Pokemon name. So Pokemon name, and then let's go ahead and close it out. And once again, this is the template reference variable, and we will log another thing.
Actually, just as a reference, what is the template reference? Was it called point or variable? Sorry, variable. Is a reference to an element directed for a component instead of an anchored template. You can use this variable to access element in a template from the component class. No, too much of big words for me. Explain to me like I was 8. Again with the Lego analogy. Imagine you are building something with Lego blocks. Each block represents a different part of your web page. You can have a block for a button, a block for an input field, and so on. Now imagine you want to talk to or interact with one of these blocks. For example, you want to know what's inside a box, an input field, or you want to press a button. What is a template reference variable? Is like giving a name to one of your Legos. So some type of pointers, okay? So you can talk to it easily later. You say input type, and then click value my input type, and then you say log value. Input type is like saying, hey, this block is called my input. Now you can ask this block what's inside, and the user typed input text whenever you want. So when you press the button, it will log the value that's inside my input. So by value, it means the input text that we set here. I need to see a practical example.
The thing is too, I'm about to log what the template reference variable looks like so that you can kind of see it. Like a lot of times in programming, you just need to see stuff. So we're gonna
too much theory. If you just want to know how to use it, just see how it works.
I'm going to go in here, we're going to handle it's a click event, so we're going to handle the click, and then we're going to pass in this Pokemon name, and we're going to give it a value. Should be a value. Let me see. Value. So handle click, the value, and then we need to go down here, and we need to create a function because the compiler is yelling at us. And what we will pass in, we're just going to pass in a value, and we'll call this any, so we don't have to worry about any type checking, and we can just kind of worry about what this object looks like. So we're going to go up here. Oh, I need to add the closing tag to this, and we are ready to go. So go up here, and this button looks like doo-doo, but so what is happening is it's passing in the value, but what we want, in order to see like what it actually looks like, click template, and you don't have to type this out. I hope that you do, but this could be just for theory's sake and just to kind of teach you. So when we click that, what's happening is it's going through the event. Remember, if you haven't watched the event video, make sure that you watch the event video, and this is going down into here, and it's constant.
What event video? I think
logging it into the browser. And when we actually do that, that is what DOM element that we can manipulate, we can do all types of things to, and provides.
Kinda get it, kinda don't, but we'll see. So we have input here, and that's the input field, and we call it by my input. Now the button, and we say the click event will be log value, and probably need to make a method for that one, and we ask for the value to print out the value of okay, what else? When you use the input to name the input box, when someone clicks the button, Angular says, okay, let me look for the block called my input and find out what's inside. You can do something with that value, like print it or use it in an app. Another example, let's say you have a toy that can say its name when you press on a button. You give it a name using and the placeholder, enter your name. Actually, how about I just copy that one and just paste it here. And we'll probably have to add that thing. It's out of the constructor. Okay, function, and what we call it, greet, and we can make this any, like we said, any for now.
This is going down into here, and that bead actually looks like.
I don't have to specify that it's a function. Okay. And we call this value just to make it easier. Console.log. So now we check on our page. It appears and then disappears at the same time. Maybe because of the no, don't put the autosave. And then we need to check on the inspect console. I just typed him. Just to spice it up, we say hi. Actually, I think we went over that part a couple of days ago. We just need to make it inside curly braces with the $sign. We just say hi, and let's just save that part. Then we try again. Okay, yeah. And it's single quotation, not double. Save that part. Nope. Has nothing to do with the video, but I just want to know how to make it print high with the value inside the value. Funny enough. We're very close to this issue. What is it? Can you do it directly? Console.log hi. Isn't that the same as what I just did? It's the other quotation. Too many quotation marks. Not sure what does this called even. Yes, that's better. Now let's check the website again. Say Tim. Yes. Now back to the actual issue with this topic. So the placeholder is just an attribute to show what should be written here. Yeah, and the type should be text. I'm not sure what the type means. Explain to me this code. So the input is the input field. Yes, I know that's the template reference variable. It's like a nickname. Very accurate way to say it. Specify that it is a text input field where the user will type text. So it's the same as string in Java, but we call it here text. Okay, so the first one is understood. Button is to make something clickable, and then click is an Angular event binding. Yes, that's the part that we were missing. What is the meaning of event? Because that part is new. Events in Angular. Nope, not here. Means that when you user click the button, Angular will call the create method in the component. Okay, so we have the create, and then we pass the parameter as the value of the input field that we nickname. So instead of saying input dot value to get the value that's entered inside the input, we just do it that way. Okay, I see. But I need more explanation about what are events. What are events in Angular? Events are fundamental concepts that allow components and templates to interact with each other. They let you respond to user action like clicking the button, typing in a text box, submitting a form. Events are used as a trigger method. Yes, okay. These are narrative browser events like click, input, submit, and key down. Custom events. I get it more or less, but we'll probably need to check on events later. Template something variable, I forgot the name, which I should probably not. Template reference variable is like a nickname you give to an HTML tag to use it later. You can do that by adding the hashtag, should probably need a space here, and then adding the nickname. Very simple. Now I actually want to do this on my own, so it was an input type. I think the input should be closing itself, and what did we have? We call it my input, and we say what input type. It was an input type, but let's start with one that I know, placeholder, and we say type your name, and the one with the type string, I forgot. Where is it? Okay, we say it's type only. Type, and we say it's text. It's something like string, but here it's called text. And then we make a button, and then what do? We have the method for click, and then we say my input dot. We actually call the method first, which is read and then we pass the parameter in, which should be my input value. Okay, this one's correct, we got that part. Click, and yes, it's greet, and yeah, we can give a name for the button, click me. Might as well just add this part here, just for memory. The greet is a function we created. Now, actually, let's save this. We check the app. Okay.
Click template.
So I did it here with the Pokemon name, not necessarily the value that's entered, just to make sure that it's getting the
and you don't have to type this out. It's going through the event. Remember, if you haven't watched the event video, make sure that you watch the event video. And then
should probably skip to that one. I thought the list was ordered, but no, it's not. The event is way ahead. Yeah, I thought I skipped something, but no, I didn't.
This is going down into here, and it's console logging it into the browser. And when we actually do that, that is what we get. We get an HTML DOM element that we can manipulate. We can do all types of.
Is there a difference between calling it a tag and the DOM element itself? When we use a template, something variable, I always forget what was the name of it. Template reference value. Does it get that HTML tag or the DOM element, or does both of them mean the same thing? The HTML tag and DOM element. HTML tag is the markup you write, just the structure of the page. For example, the DOM element is an actual object in the browser created when it loads the HTML into the document. The DOM is an in-memory representation of your HTML page. So technically, yes, they mean the same thing or refer to the same thing. When I'm talking about the HTML tag, I'm not talking about the syntax itself, but I'm talking about what appears on the page. So it's more accurate to actually call it the DOM element. When you use your template reference variable in Angular, it refers to DOM elements in the browser, not just the HTML tag. Yeah, that's the part what I was just talking about.
So things too, and provides, like I said, the power and the low levelness of Java, as low level as you can get of JavaScript, and it also provides all the abstraction with Angular, and that's going to be the video on template reference variable.
But surprisingly, I don't find the video about events. I mean, I kind of get it from ChatGPT, but that's about it.
What's up, guys? This is Teddy.
So what, we finished the template reference today, so that's
Welcome
the second
to
episode.
My YouTube channel. This video, we're going to be talking about ng.
Let me check. We have, forget about the first one. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 concepts that we finished. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay.
Class in Angular, and more specifically, class.
Just to keep it as a reference, so that when we check back on it later, because I will definitely forget it.
Binding. So we've talked about how to bind words, how to bind objects, how to actually get data back, but we really haven't talked about how do you dynamically style an application based off of what is coming back from database or JSON or something from an external source. In a lot of the power of frameworks and a lot of the power of JavaScript is the ability to dynamically show UI components based off of, like I said, some type of external data.
API, basically.
A Boolean comes back. In this situation, we're going to add a Boolean to, and this is pretty real world. You're going to add some type of toggle. You're going to add some type of Boolean to your basket of baby beavers or your Pokemon app, whatever app that you're making, it doesn't really matter. And we're going to toggle.
Probably should use the Pokemon API for that class.
NG class is how we do it. So once again,
for that project.
We've done this is our imaginary VS Code. Just remember, this is imaginary VS Code. On the left side, we have our code behind. Right side, we have our HTML. But in this case, this is kind of like a rare scenario. We also have to do, and I need to put a dot there because this is a class. Just remember that this is a class, so there's a dot. We also have CSS. And CSS is going to be
my nemesis.
One of the ways in which we can style the app, and probably the most common that you're going to, and the best practice. There are ways, and I'm going to teach you ways to actually inline style HTML, but in most cases, what you really want to use is you want to style your components with ng class or class binding. So, very simple. This is sort of the old school, but more robust way. You can do a lot more with just ng class. Regular class binding with the dot, like we see here, and this is ng class is literally just this right here. So just pay attention to this part. We can talk more about this here in a second, but I'm assuming you probably already know what that's doing. So class, all that's happening here is just like in property binding. If this is true, or if this satisfies some type of truthy value, truthiness, remember truthiness is what we are looking for over here, then this is going to be activated. And what this basically means, this class right here, this is just Angular's way of saying, hey, when this class, or when this is truthy, this is going to be a class on our HTML property, and we are going to go.
So we have the cool indicator, and we say class.cool indicator to specifically talk about that class, and instead of calling it ng. Okay, so that's the keyword we use for checking if it's true or not. So if isCool is true, that class should be executed.
Reach into our CSS and HTML and actually go.
So yes, that class is not a normal class, it's a CSS class.
And you may be wondering, well, like, Teddy, how is it actually going in? This is another good thing to learn too. Like, how is it actually finding these things? What's going on is up here, we actually have this component, and it looks kind of strange, but I always tell people, like, and I'm going to put this back, but what is that? That's a decorator. That's basically a programming style that lets you decorate onto stuff. A lot of times people get thrown off. They don't really realize that this is actually just a decorator for this class. This isn't some type of thing that's like up here. This is attached to the class. This is called a decorator pattern. So what's going to happen is it's going to pass in that object, and the style sheet's going to be found right here. If you look, you may...
If I remember correctly, in React you just use the import for the specific file, but not add component.
But I see. Notice it, because a lot of times there's so much stuff going on that you don't really realize it, but there's a CSS file right here, and that's how...
Is it? Yes, there is. It's called component.css. And it's that folder right here, which is empty. Okay. So you have component, and then you have HTML tag for it, and then you have the TS for it, and then you have the CSS for it. So 3 folders for every aspect of your code.
All of this is being found. So we've got that Pokemon is cool.
If I remember correctly, in React you have multiple components, and then you add them in the main page, which should be named app. App.config servlet. Not sure if it exists here, but it should be. So you can create components like Lego pieces and then piece them together in the main file that you have.
It's going to satisfy true, going to go reach in, and then it's going to turn this element to a different color.
Good example to that would be probably dark mode and light mode.
So let's go ahead and do that, and then
some type of toggle effect.
So what's going to happen is we are going to go in here and we are going to add our toggle is cool. We're going to add a true or false to each Pokemon, and we are going to toggle, is this Pokemon cool? Just kind of a funny way of, if you were to do this in real life, it would be...
So we have a component, and then we have Pokemon, that's the name, and it's from type array. Then he created the first array of an object and the second array of an object.
Is active or something. You would never have a property like this. So just heads up, do not do this in a production. Do not put is cool as a toggle in where you work. Just felt like I need to make that clear. So what happens when you add this is cool? The first thing that's going to happen is you're going to get a red squiggly line. What is happening is type checking is saying, hey, there is like there's a Pokemon here, but it does not have this property. So if you have this problem in real life, what you want to do is you just want to right click, go to definition, and it will, if you didn't see that, just a little bit more.
So he did create an interface for the
people out there. Right click, go to definition, and then you go up here, and what's going to do is it's going to take you to this Pokemon type. Now, it's not incredibly important. It is important to know interfaces, but I do not expect anybody watching this for a video to understand what interfaces are.
Good that we watch the TypeScript first.
But an interface is I'm trying to think. An interface is if you had a box. Okay, so
it's simpler to just normal classes that you instantiate so that you can actually do more classes out of it. So it's something like a template for your classes.
Class would be like an actual box. An interface is almost like an imaginary box. It doesn't really exist in the actual a class actually exists.
I'm not sure if this is existing in a GitHub repository here, but I will just do it either way. So before the constructor, he added the interface. He called it Pokemon. Interface Pokemon, and that's it. Yes. And no, it's on top of the component itself. So it's the most top thing I see. It's not inside the class, but it's outside of the class. Yes, makes sense. Interfaces cannot be instantiated inside a class. And you have title here, for example, and we say it's from type string. ID, name, and type. Okay, we just started that ID from type number. I think that should be inside of quotations. Nope. ID number, that's it. Why is the N capital? Don't think I wrote it capital, but okay. You have ID, then you have name. I think name, yeah. You have name, and it's from type string. Why does this keep on happening? Okay. Yeah, so you just create it as a normal class. And then you have type. It's also from type string. And then we add is active, and from boolean. That's how you create the interface. Forget about that one. And then the constructor here, we'll probably not be using it for now. And then he created an array. How do you create array again? We call it Pokemons. Let me say from type Pokemon, and it's an array. And that's what is the symbol of the array? Yes, that one. But we'll probably make it an object first. So the first object should be, what do we have? I think ID was first, yes. And the ID was 1. The name was, for example, I forgot the comma. Name ID, then type. We say electric. We say is active, and we say false. Then you make a comma, and then you create another object. But you will make the ID 2. Just call it lizard. The type is fire, also false. So that's how we get the same result as he's getting.
Just remember that, like a class, like if I just were to turn this into a class, I could do this I could achieve this exact same task, but
from what I understood, classes in JavaScript, you have to actually specify each content of each class you make, so you have to do them manually. Unlike Java, you just make a template and then you add the variables, the instance variables to it later. But in order to achieve the same result, you just use interfaces here, which are different interfaces from Java.
But
yes.
We use interfaces because interfaces are just logical type checking. And we use type checking so that, imagine if this Pokemon were in 100 different places in your app and you added is cool to one of them and it broke the rest of the app. That's the reason that we have type checking. You see, apps can become so big in especially in a production environment, and you work for a corporation, that you need type checking so that.
And that's why Angular is best suited for big project, because it forces you to use TypeScript.
People know what's going on, and there's almost like a rule saying like, hey, this is the way this model works, and if you want to add an is cool, you need to go to every single object and make sure that is cool is able to be done. And if it's not able to be done, it will break. So we go in here and let me see. Let's go down. Is cool. And I'm actually coming out with a TypeScript course soon enough, so we will talk more about interfaces if you're not really clear.
But that has nothing to do with ng class. It's just TypeScript basics.
It's not incredibly important just yet, but we will get around to it. Just remember that analogy. Okay, so now let's turn. Squirtle is a cool Pokemon. Pikachu's not cool. Pikachu's too mainstream, and Charmander's a cool Pokemon. So sorry.
I just call him Lizard.
So next thing, now we need to actually wire up this HTML, and in order to do that, what we're gonna do is.
I forgot the main topic that we are talking about because we kept on talking on TypeScript. What is ng class? Is a structural derivative in Angular that allows you to conditionally apply CSS classes. Yeah, it's the toggle button. That's what I will keep referring it to. About now? Yeah. ng classes, aka the toggle button, makes you able to change a component style if the properties of it is changed. We will soon get to know how to use it, but That's the basic definition for now. I'll probably change
Let's
it.
do class first. So first thing, we're gonna go into our class indicator, and we'll go class. We need to put brackets around it. So class dot, and we're gonna call this cool indicator.
The class is the one that we call for the ng, and then
actually
cool indicator. Where did he get that from?
Let's call it cool bool. I like that. And then
so you can call it literally anything, and then you pass the school parameter.
What's going to happen
as the
is
property.
For each Pokemon we're going to have is cool. That's another reason that we have interfaces and we have type checking. Did you see how it automatically knew that that was there? That is a form. That's type checking. That's the beauty
That's
of
called
type
JavaScript.
checking. And
Java,
also
not
the
JavaScript.
great thing about type checking is that you
what is the T-body and thread on all
can just
that?
hover over stuff like this, and you can see exactly what it is, because there's almost like a record, or there's almost something that tells you whether it exists or not. And we need to go into our CSS, and we need to tells you whether it exists or not. And
okay, the cool ball is the CSS class that we will be calling
we need to go
if
into our
the
CSS
result
and
is
we
true.
need to create cool bool. So go in here, cool bool.
And it's a class, okay.
That's so stupid. And then we're going to just give it whether
but
it
I
exists.
never have seen these tags. What is a T-body, TR, and TD? What are these HTML tags? TR, T-body, and TD, or something similar. TD, and then table. Table, I know it, but never used it. They are all related to creating tables in HTML. They define the structure of a table and how the table rows and columns are generated. Here is detailed an explanation. Table is used to create the table. Yeah, a table consists of table rows and table cells. Table cells. Can you just not call them columns? That's the row. Okay, it's used to define row cells in each table. So that's the row, and he's defining here what's inside the column of that row. I'm not sure how that will work, but let's check again. Table row is used to define rows of cells in a table. Every TI element is placed inside the table, and it contains one or more table data. Hard to visualize, but can you make a visual representation for that? Okay, the thread is the table header. Makes sense, okay. And then you have the cell. Each cell, it's called table row, yes. And then you have a header. Nope, still not a good idea. Should probably search that one. HTML table tag and its component explain. Okay, let's start with Vasco because that's the most popular one. So basic HTML table, that's the h2. TR is the table row, and that's the first row that we have. Yes, we have company, contact, and country. Then the second row, it's a very inefficient way to insert stuff into a table, but it goes row by row. I get that part, but what are TDs then? Okay, so the first TR indicates the first row, and the TD is the columns inside, not necessarily the columns. So we have company, and then we have contract, then we have country, and these are TH. So table row is just the entire row here, and then the TH is for every element inside these. So that's how HTML writes the table, like this and then like this. Okay, so what is that's the body tag. What's the T body then? We have table, and then we have the thread, I'm not sure what the thread is, and then we have the T body. What is the thread tag then? It's used to group header context of a table in a semantic element. Should probably just Google it from here. TD table cells. Okay, I get that part, but borders, headers, no, not table rows, table headers, group the header context. Yes, so we want to check what's the T head and the T body. Write myself table, then a thread, and inside the thread you have month and saving. So thread is used to highlight the first row, which is in bold because it is the heading. So these are the headings of each column, and then the T body is the body itself. Okay, I guess.
And we need to go into our CSS and we need to create cool bool. So go in here, cool bool.
Should probably I'll need to revise everything that I just did here. Just bring this here with that one even, because I'm exceeding the 1 hour limit I have for each one. So tomorrow I should start with the exception handling because it was too much.
So we're getting pretty far along.
And then we also have to deal with ng class. The ng class wasn't the issue, but everything around it, which is the TypeScript part, which we finished, but creating a table is what will be the issue. So we want to create a table and then try the ng class itself, and then we have a toggle effect on it. It's a good way to practice HTML and CSS while also doing Angular, so that's why it will probably take for me longer to just get good at Angular. Well, which reminds me, how many HTML tags we have? We have a lot, so I will just remember or memorize whatever I do here. Yes. So yeah, I'll remember the tags by the usage. If I used it, it's important. If I didn't use it, then I'll not remember it. So okay, that should be it for dealing with Angular for today. So now we will be doing POE. But since we'll be doing it for POE, so that will be it for the YouTube stream. Yes.